So in today's class, we are going to be looking at assets replacement decision. When a company purchases non-current assets, including plant and machinery, equipment, okay, so a company may want to know when and how should the assets should be replaced at a later future date. This is because the assets employed by the business that have been put into use to generate goods or render services at a later future days will become obsolete or in lower quality of production. So at that stage, it is important that the assets should be replaced. So replacement strategy generally involves the process of determining the optimal replacement strategy to be adopted by an organization for the asset employed to generate goods or services. The decision is how often the asset should be replaced, how and when should the assets should be replaced at a later future date. This is because when an asset is newly bought, the operating efficiency and the receive value will be considerably high, while the maintenance cost of the assets will be relatively low. However, as the asset become older and aging, the working condition of the assets will decline. The resale value of the assets would have reduced, while the asset will become problematic to maintain and to operate. That's why it is important for an organization to design a guideline that is consistent with the overall objective of the organization in relation to replacement strategy to be adopted. Basically, there are two types of replacements. We have identical replacements. There's also non-identical replacements. When an asset with similar characteristics is replaced with a new one, we said it is an identical replacement. For example, if you are using motor vehicle, Toyota motor vehicle, and then you want to replace maybe the old one, the existing motor vehicle, the Toyota motor vehicle is already old, so you now want to change it. You decide to buy another motor vehicle, Toyota motor vehicle, Toyota Corolla, all right? It means that is an identical. If you want to replace a ceiling fan, you now bought another ceiling fan. That's an identical replacement. However, if you want to, you are using a motor vehicle because it's old or the operating efficiency has declined, you now decide to buy a new bus. You can see saloon motor vehicle is not the same thing as a bus. Again, if you want to replace a ceiling fan, you now change it with a standing fan. It's not identical. So when an asset with similar characteristics are being replaced with a new one, that is an identical replacement. Non-identical replacement will occur when an existing asset with different characteristics is being replaced. Okay, so that's the difference between the two. Again, there are majorly two classifications of assets. One is asset that fades suddenly, and two, asset that fades gradually. For the asset that's faced suddenly, they are assets with insignificant amount of cost. Okay? Assets that face suddenly are assets with insignificant, immaterial amount of cost. Examples include light bulbs, tubes, or tube of a tire. The problem is not with the cost of the assets, but the consequential effect of the failure. Okay, that's what they're gonna the company wants to guide against. Imagine having a VIP meeting in the meeting room, and all of a sudden, the lights bulb just went off, everywhere blackout. It's an embarrassment to the management. Imagine driving on the expressway and the tire just burst. You can imagine the consequential effect of that failure. Anything can happen at that moment. And that's why it is important an organization should know the lifespan of the relevant assets that have been put into use to generate goods or to render services for the business. The second one is assets that face gradually. These are non-current assets, including the equipment, machinery, and all of that. These assets deteriorate with time, and they face gradually because of wear and tear of the components that make up the assets. Therefore, like I said earlier on, irrespective of the category of assets, it is important for a company to formulate strategy that will prevent the failure of determining the optimal replacement policy to be adopted by the organization. It's very important. You need to know how long each asset that has been put into use to generate goods or to render services should last before replacement. Please, Ablatif, mute yourself. Now, I will not bother you with the key assumptions for replacements. You can read those ones on your own. Let me just talk through the reasons for replacements. There are basically three key reasons for replacing an asset. One of them is age. Second one is the working condition of the asset, which is operating efficiency. Then third is the technology. Now, when an asset is aging and becoming worn out, the asset will become very problematic for the organization to operate efficiently and as intended. This is because when an asset gets older, it will be more expensive to maintain and operate. Such an asset certainly will lower quality of the products. If the quality of the product is lower, it may be as a result of lower productivity. Of course, more energy will be required to operate the assets. For the purpose of this, to increase labor costs and at the same time, the maintenance costs, because the asset is not functioning as intended. So more energy is required to operate the assets. More time will be required to operate the asset because the asset is supposed to have pressed the button, start, okay, and to start operating immediately. So you have to exert so much energy because the asset is already old. You can spend several minutes or hours, you are still trying to start the assets or the machine. So when this happens, At that point, it is important for the company to replace the assets. The second one is operating efficiency. When the working condition of the assets, has deteriorates or has declined significantly, at that point, it's important for the company to replace the assets. Because when an asset is getting old, it may be generating smoke or noise, okay? To be creating negative externality to the environment. This unpleasant condition may become worrisome for the organization. It can even cause injury for the operator of the machine. So at that point in time, it's important for the company to replace the assets. I remember some time ago, sometime around 2018 or thereabouts, I worked with a company. We have a sewage plant. That sewage plant is, of course, a big one, which we use in the office. Unknowing to the business, the sewage plant is already, of course, is old. Not only that, it's been creating pollution to the business environment. The neighbors started complaining that the company should come and fix it because of the odor or the smell emanating from the sewage plant. In fact, the issue almost resorted to litigation because the neighbors are not happy with the way the company handled it. And when the issue is becoming worrisome, the company has to fix it, replace the sewage treatment plant. Okay. So once the working condition of an asset has declined considerably, it is important at that point in time that the company look into it, that it replace the assets. Okay. The third one is technology. The frequent change in technology and the competitive nature of business environments may make replacement imperative one, because when a more advanced model of an asset is in the market, a model that have an improved capability to produce a better and high quality products, high level of efficiency, then at that point in time, it's important for the company to replace the assets. Because if the company does not replace the assets, the company may become laggard. Because especially if your competitor are already using the new technology and you are still using the old one, so become laggard, because the old asset cannot produce as the new technology. So in order to lead the markets, company can even try as much as possible to be the first to integrate the new advanced model machine into the production settings. All right. So these are the three key reasons for replacing an asset. The first one I mentioned is the age of the assets. When the asset is aging and become worn out, so it is important at that stage for the company to replace the assets. Okay. The second one is operating efficiency. We said when the working condition of the asset has declined significantly, at that point in time, it's important to replace the assets. because it can create pollution to the business environment. It can result to hazard or injury for the operators of the machine. Okay, the third one is technology. When a new advanced model machine that has the capacity to produce better and high quality products and with high level of efficiency is available in the market, it's important for the company to adapt to the new technology. Otherwise, the company may become bad. Now, again, I will not bother you on the determinant criteria or factors to be considered in a replacement decision. So something you can read on your own. So let's talk about methods of replacement. Amarachi, mute yourself. Let's talk about methods of replacement. Basically, there are three methods of determining optimal replacement strategy. One is the annual equivalent value or cost method. Two, lowest common multiple method. Then three, finite horizon. The three methods of determining the optimal replacement strategy generally result to the same decision. However, whenever you want to determine the optimal replacement strategy, of course, always use the annual equivalent value or cost method. It's more straightforward. Horizon is used when there's inflation. And one of the assumptions of replacement strategy is that inflation and taxations are ignored. So this financial horizon is no more within your, it's not part of the consideration. Okay, so third time, always use the annual equivalent value or cost method. Now, you want to determine the optimal replacement strategy to be adopted using an equivalent value or cost method. The most important thing to do is to calculate NPV for each replacement cycle. Okay, we calculate NPV for each replacement cycle. In the determination of the NPV for each replacement cycle, you will need to accumulate the benefits or net cash flows or the maintenance costs associated. You'll be repeating it year on year. However, instead of having cash inflow of the first year, maintenance costs of the first year, as you are moving to year two, you will repeat the cash inflow of the first year in the year two, then plus the cash inflow of that year two. Maintenance cost of year one, you repeat it when you get to year two. So you'll be accumulating it, you'll be repeating it year on year until the cycle has been completed. So instead of doing for benefit, instead of doing for cash inflow and then maintenance costs, it will become so voluminous as you get to the latter part of the project. Okay, so and for the asset, and therefore it is important for you to just calculate your net cash flow. The net cash flow will now be your cash inflow minus the maintenance cost. Okay, so that will give you your net cash flow. So your cash inflow, if in the question you are given selling price, you're also given the variable cost. So all you need to do is to just calculate contribution per unit. You multiply with the number of units that the asset will produce. Then, of course, that will give you the total contribution. From your total contribution, then you less the maintenance or running cost to have the net cash flow. So it is that net cash flow that you are going to be repeating every year that you are going to be accumulating every year. So step 2, you need to go ahead and calculate annual equivalent value or cost, okay? You calculate the annual equivalent value or cost. So the annual equivalent value or cost is simply the ratio of NPV to the annuity factor. Okay, the annual equivalent value is the ratio of NPV to the annuity factor. So for each cycle that you have calculated NPV for, so if your NPV is positive, if all your NPVs are positive, then that means you need to calculate annual equivalent value. But if your NPVs are negative, it means you have to calculate annual equivalent cost. Of course, you already know the formula for calculating annuity factor. All right. So if it is annual equivalent value, you are expected to select the highest annual equivalent value. Okay. So you select the highest annual equivalent value, then you trace it to the number of years on the left. So whatever you have there will be the optimal replacement strategy to be adopted. But if it is annual equivalent cost that you have computed, you are expected to select the lowest number. All right, you select the lowest number. So this is what you need to do as far as determining optimal replacement strategy is concerned. Okay, so again, you just read the limitation. All of these things, you can read them through. So that's that. So it's not something we can waste time on. It's a very straightforward concept. Okay, so please take your time to read the factors. Okay, the factors, the assumptions, and the limitation for replacements. Okay, so that you have the understanding. The last time ICANN tested, the examiner tested replacement strategy was in 2017. So it's not something that comes so often, but you never can tell. We don't know what examiner will test this time around. So, but again, ensure you know it. All right. And the good thing about this is that when you get to professional levels under strategic financial management, you are still going to do it. Nothing different. It's the same thing. All right. So at this point, let's have illustration. I'm able to solve 2 or the entire 3 illustrations here. So there are 4 here. So I'm able to solve 3. So that's it. So I need somebody to read for us. Who is asking question? Is there any way you can increase the volume from your answer? What happened to my volume? Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I just need you to increase the volume so that I can hear you louder.
Okay. Okay, I need somebody to read for us.
Telemundo PLC is a manufacturing company trading Brazil, a country in which there have been virtually no inflation for many years, and in which none is expected in the future. The company produces a wide range of products, one of which is the Samba, which requires the use of a special machine. The company's present policy is to replace each machine at the end of its physical productive life of 4 years. The directors are now considering whether to replace the machine more frequently than once every 4 years in view of the fact that its productive capacity declines as it gets older and potential sales of Samba are lost. There is insufficient demand for the company's Samba to justify the purchase of a second machine. Telemundo PLC charges a selling price of 12 kobo per Samba, at which price it is able to sell up to 500,000 per annum. variable costs, excluding machine depreciation, and running costs amounted to 4 kobo per samba. Details of productive capacities and running costs, including maintenance of the machine, are given below. Annual running costs are independent of the number of samba produced. The directors wish to continue their present policy of always buying new machines at a price of 60,000 naira each. Trade-in value of the machines are 40,000 naira for 1 year old machine, 25,000 naira for 2-year-old machine, 10,000 naira for 3-year-old machine, and nil for 4-year-old machine. The company produces depreciation on all its assets using the straight line method. All costs and revenue are paid or received in cash at the end of the year to which they relate, with the exception of the initial price of the machine, which is paid immediately on purchase. Telemundo PLC has an annual cost of capital of 10%. You are required to determine optimum replacement strategy for Telemundo PLC. Ignore taxation.
Thank you very much, Amarachi. Yes, that is the question. You are required to determine the optimum replacement strategy for Telemundo PLC. So this is a very straightforward question because the examiner has told you what you need to do. As a result, I will stop sharing this, then move to the working note. So, in determining the optimum replacement strategy to be adopted by Telemundo PLC, there are 3 procedures you are expected to carry out. The first procedure is to calculate NPV for each replacement cycle. Then step 2, you compute annual equivalent value or cost using the respective formula. Then step 3, you advise on the replacement strategy to be adopted by the company. So the only major work you have is computing the NPV for each replacement cycle. Because if the asset has 5 years life, that means you are going to calculate 5 different NPVs. If the asset has 10 years life, you are going to compute 5 different NPVs. So that is just the major work. To get the annual equivalent value of cost is very straightforward. So without wasting more time, so let's solve this. Solution. So illustration 1. The name of the company is Telemundo PLC. So you ask to determine the optimal replacement strategy. So what I will do, I will say replace. If you want to replace this asset every year, what is the NPV? So replace every year. So to do this, we need to compute NPV first. Description of item, cash flows, discount factor. Examiner has told the cost of capital is 10%. Then you create a column for present value. Year 0, you will have the cost of the assets. According to the question, the examiner told us that when you look at the paragraph after the table, you are told that the directors wish to continue their present policy of always buying new machines at a price of 60,000 naira each. So the cost of capital, the initial cost of the machine is 60,000. Discount factor at year 0 is 1. 1 multiplied by 60,000 will give us 60,000. Then in year 1, remember, when you want to compute NPV, like I explained, you are supposed to be cumulating the cash flows associated with the assets, the cash inflows, and the maintenance or running costs associated with the assets. In this question, you have been told that there's a selling price. Whenever you see selling price in a question and as well as a variable cost, you need nobody to tell you that you are going to calculate annual equivalent value, because in most cases, the NPVs will be positive. Whenever you have selling price, that means you need to compute contribution. So without wasting time, what we need to do here is to go and calculate total contribution. Once we have the total contribution, we'll less the running cost to have the net cash flow. So it is that net cash flow that we are going to be accumulating on a yearly basis. So selling price.
Can you repeat that again?
Selling price is 12 kobo. Variable cost is 4 kobo. So we need to go ahead and calculate contribution. What I just said is that whenever you are given selling price and variable costs, it means that you are going to calculate for annual equivalent value, because in most cases, the contribution will be more than the maintenance cost. So as a result, you need to go and calculate net cash flow. Your net cash flow will be the total contribution minus the running cost or maintenance cost. Okay? This will be for the NPV of the first year cycle, second year cycle. Worst case, we're going to use 2 pages. Let's do our workings here. Let me see. Okay. That should be okay. Now, workings. You need to do your workings first. You create a page, you create pages for the main solution that you're going to do your workings, because you need that working. So I want to calculate for contribution. As you know, contribution per unit is equal to selling price minus variable cost per unit. Let me write that. Okay, so according to the question, selling price is 12 kobo, 0.12, minus variable cost of 4 kobo, 0.04. Contribution per unit is 8 kobo. So now that I have the contribution per unit to be 8 kobo, I need to go ahead and calculate total contribution. So total contribution So I'll create a column for year, the unit of Samba, contribution per unit, then total contribution. Okay. For year 1, year 2, year 3, and then year 4. The useful life of the machine is 4 years. The first year Samba produced is 500,000 units. The second year is 500,000. The third year is 400,000. The fourth year is also 400,000 units of Samba. We have computed contribution per unit to be 8 kobo. 0.08 is constant. 0.08. So to get the total contribution, just multiply the unit with the contribution per unit. 500,000 multiplied by 0.08 will give us 40,000 naira. 40,000 naira. 400,000 multiplied by 8 kobo will give us 32,000. 32,000. So in year 1, I will have 40,000 as total contribution. Then in year 1, I will also have running cost of 6,000 naira. So instead of me to have By the time I get to year 4, it will be too voluminous. So instead of that, it's better for me to just go ahead and calculate net cash flow. So I would then say net cash flow, NCF. So year, total contribution, running costs, the net cash flow. So for year 1, total contribution is 40,000. Running costs in year 1, 6,000. 40,000 minus 6,000 will give us 34,000. In year 2, total contribution is 40,000. In that year 2, running cost is 500 naira. 6,500. So 40,000 minus 6,500 will give us 33,500. In year 3, running cost is 32,000. Running cost in year 3 is 7,500. Okay, let me write this one. So 32,000 minus 7,500 will produce 24,500. Year 4, contribution is still 32,000, but running cost has increased to 9,000. So the difference between 32 and 9,000 is 23,000. Okay, that's it. So now that you have the net cash flow, I then proceed to calculating my NPV, because both the total contribution and running costs will be affected with the same discount factor. So it is only reasonable for you to compute net cash flow, which will make life very easy for you. So let's go in up there. 34,000 for the first year net cash flow. So I will then come here, net cash flow, 34,000. Discount factor at year 1. Discount factor for year 1 at 10% is 0.909. Please, if you don't know how to calculate discount factor, let me know. I can produce the number, the formula for you. But I believe you know it. We've done it previously. Give it to me. What do you have there? What's the answer? The present value. 34,000 multiplied by 0.0909.
3906.
3906. So that represents the present value in year 1. So in that year 1, we also have trading value. Trading value is the same thing as scrap value, salvage value, resale value, sales proceed. Whatever your examiner is is the same thing. So I will then go to the question. The trading value, we are told that trading value of the machines are 40,000 naira for 1 year, for 1 year old machine. So 40,000. Okay, multiply by 0.909. What do you get? Yes?
36,360.
6360. 6360 plus
36,360.
36. Oh, okay, 36,360. All right. So 36,360 plus 3906 minus 60,000. What do you have? That should be
7,266.
766. So that's the NPV of the first year. So I would then say, I'll move to the next one. Replace every 2 years. So if the company wants to replace every 2 years, what's the NPV? Again, year, item, cash flow, factor at 10%, then present value. Year 0, the cost of the machine is 60,000. Multiply by discount factor at year 0, still the same 60,000. In year 1, the net cash flow, remember, we're supposed to repeat. The net cash flow is cumulative of other years. So net cash flow of year 1 is 34. At a discount factor of 0.909, and we got 30,906. In year 2, net cash flow of year 2 is 33,500 as computed previously. And the discount factor for year 2 at 10% is 0.826. So multiply for me, what do you get? Yes?
27,671.
671. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in year 2, we have trading value. So the trading value in year 2, we are told is 25,000 naira for 2-year-old machine, 25,000. So here is 25,000 multiplied by 0.826. What do you get?
2650.
Pardon?
2650.
650. So final answer, 2650 plus 27,671 plus 30,906 minus 60,000. What do you get?
19,227.
19,227. So that's the NPV of year 2 replacement. Okay. Wow. Oh, I will use this. So replace every 3 years. So if the company wants to replace every 3 years, what's the NPV? Year, description of items, cash flows, discount factor at 10%, then present value. In year 0, the initial cost of the machine is 60,000, still the same. Discount factor is 1. Multiplied by 60,000 will give us 60,000. Continue from the, okay, I can see you this. So year 1, net cash flow, we got 34,000. 34,000 multiplied by 0.909. This produced 30,906. Then year 2, you repeat the net cash flow of year 2, which is 33,500 multiplied by 0.826. This gave us 27,671. Okay. Then year 3, net cash flow, which is 24,500. Okay, 24,500 multiplied by 0.751 discount factor for year 3. What do you get? Yes.
18,400. 18,400.
18,400. At that year 3, we also have trading value. So according to the question, 10,000 for year 3 old machine. So the trading value for year 3 is 10,000 naira. Multiplied by 0.751. This is 7,510. Okay, what's the NPV for year 3? 7,510 plus 18,400 plus 27,671 plus 3906 minus 60,000. What you get?
24,487.
24,480.
487.
7. Oh, okay.
487. 7.
Okay. Then. So let's move to the last one, which is replace every 4 years. So let's compute NPV on that. Here. Items. Cash flow, discount factor at 10% present value. Year 0, the cost of the machine is 60,000 naira. Multiply by 1, 60,000. In year 1, net cash flow, 34,000 at discount factor of 0.909, which produced 30,906. Year 2, net cash flow. Year 2 net cash flow was 33,500. Discount factor 8.806. That's what produced 27,671. In year 3, we also have net cash flow of 24,500. Discount factor of 0.751.
Before the closing hour, go láti pín. Gbogbo wa lọ́rọ̀ fún. Àti drinks.
So, well done, oh.
Ah.
See your life outside.
We are in class now. I forgot to.
So year 4, net cash flow is 23,000. Then for year 4, 0.683. 0.683. So what do you get? 23,000 multiplied
15,709.
18.
15.
15. Oh, okay. 709, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is there any trading value? We are told that nil for year, there's no trading value for year 4. So in this case, what's the final answer? NPV.
Yep. 32,686. 32,686.
686. Okay. So the useful life of the machine is 4 years, and we have computed NPV for each replacement cycle. So the next thing we need to do now is to calculate the annual equivalent value. Since our NPVs are positive, then it is annual equivalent value. So I would then say annual equivalent value equal to net present value computed for each year divided by annuity factor. So for proper presentation, let's put it in a table. So create a column for year, working for annual equivalent value. Then we have the annual equivalent value in Naira. Okay, year 1, year 2, year 3, then year 4. NPV of year 1 is 7266. NPV of year 1 is 7266. Here is 7266 divided by annuity factor of year 1. Remember, annuity factor is computed as 1 minus 1 plus R raised to power minus N, all divided by R. R is the cost of capital, N is the useful life. So every year you'll be changing the N by 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So in this case, you are going to start with 1.1 because cost of capital is 10%, R is 10%, and N is 1 for year 1. So I will say 1.1 raised to power minus 1 equal minus 1 equal divided by 0.1 equal. This should give you 0.909. 909. So when you multiply that, what do you get? Sorry, when you divide that, what do you get? Yes.
7993 approximately.
7993. So that represents
793.39.
0.9.
0.3.
Oh, okay,
9.
that's it. So that's it. Then the NPV of year 2 is 19,227. 19,227. So it is 19,227 divided by annuity factor of year 2. That is cumulative discount factor of year 2. That will be 1.1 raised to power minus 2 equal minus 1 equal divided by 0.1 equal. That should give you 1.736. Give it to me. What do you have?
11075.46.
Okay. That's it. Thank you. Then year 3 NPV is 24,487. 24,487 divided by annuity factor of year 1 to 3, which is 1.1 raised to power minus 3 equal minus 1 equal divided by 0.1 equal. This should give you 2.487. Give it to me.
98446.
9846. Okay. So
9845.99.
that's 46. So the NPV of year 4 is 32,686 divided by annuity factor, which is 1.1 raised to power minus 4 equal minus 1 equal divided by 0.1 equal. This should give you 3.170.
10311.
10311. Okay, thank you for all of you that participated. Now, we have computed the annual equivalent value. The third step is to make a decision. So if all the NPVs computed are positive, it is annual equivalent value, and that's what we have done. Therefore, to make a decision, you are going to select the highest annual equivalent value. The highest is 11,075. So you trace it to the left where you have number of years, which is 2. In this case, the machine should be replaced every 2 years. I would then say the machine should be replaced every 2 years. considering the highest annual equivalent value of 11,075 naira. That's it. That's the end of the question. You can see it doesn't require so much sweating. All right. So that's it. Let's have another illustration. Let's have another illustration. So before we move on, is there any why in what we have done? Any further explanation?
Sorry, please, can you write out the formula for the discounting factor?
Discount factor. Okay.
Yeah.
So for the discount factor, so this is for the annuity factor. For the discount factor is, of course, it's just 1 plus R raised to power minus N. Okay. Again, the R is the cost of capital, N is the useful life. For example, if I want to calculate discount factor for year 1, discount factor of year 1 will be equal to 1 is constant, R is 10%. That will be, so 1 plus 0.1 will give me 1.1, then raised to power minus 1. So this should give you 0.909. Let me write it down there. So this should give you 0.909. So that's how to compute discount factor. All right.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. So let me stop sharing this and move to the main notes so that you can take additional illustrations. Let's try illustration number 2. Illustration number 2, who will help us to read?
Okay, sir. Kafachan PLC is a second-tier listed company that specializes in the business of manufacturing nails of various sizes. Its factory is sited near one of the federal government-owned steel manufacturing companies in the Southwest Axis. It enjoys proximity advantage to the source of its raw materials, which are mainly iron coils from these government parastatals. For several years, the company enjoyed uninterrupted production runs, which enabled it to record steady growth in its annual profits. In recent times, the company has been experiencing downturn in its economic activities. The annual profits were declining and the situation was becoming worrisome to management. The privatization program of the government was the main cause of the adverse shift in the profits of the company because raw materials became the critical operational constraint. As a result, importation of iron coils became the only option to ensure smooth production. This option was faced with many problems and the company was finding it difficult to arrest its unfavorable situation. The company is planning to diversify and add a new product line as part of its survival strategy. The new product is industrial polish. The raw material, which is wax, is a byproduct of petroleum refining. Achievements of the diversification requires initial investment in the acquisition and installation of a polishing machine. The management is considering a choice from 2 alternative machines for which market survey has been carried out. There are only 2 such machines in the market. Both machines fulfill the same function and have the same capacity. And details of the market survey are as follows. All figures are assumed to be correct. The company's cost of capital is 10%. The company is in a tax-free world. We are required: A, mention 4 problems which Kafachan PLC is likely to face in the importation of raw materials, and B, advise the management of Kafachan PLC on the machine to purchase.
Thank you very much, Kunle. That is the question. That's the question. In the A part of the question, you are told to mention 4 problems which the company is likely to face in the importation of raw material. For this kind of requirements, you are expected to personalize it. Put yourself in a position of an importer. You want to import raw material from abroad. What are the likely challenges that you may face as a company? That's what the examiner is asking you. Who can give us one problem that the company will face? You want to import raw material from abroad. What are the problems or challenges that you can face? Yes?
Sourcing foreign forex.
Pardon?
Sourcing forex, foreign exchange. I mean, forex.
So what about foreign exchange?
No, I mean sourcing forex, foreign currency to import the product.
Okay. You wanted to say gyration in foreign exchange, fluctuation in foreign exchange.
Even the sourcing is a problem.
Yeah, I understand. Even the sourcing, so trying to get the foreign exchange for the purpose of purchasing the material, of course, is a problem. Then you can also include the fluctuation or gyration in the exchange rates, which can also impact the value of the materials that you are going to buy. Okay. Yes. What other factors or problem you need to consider?
Import duty.
Yes. Tom Grace, talk to me. I've told you if you want to talk, you raise your hand. Tom Grace, go ahead.
Like high export duties.
High import duty. Yes, correct. That's another problem. Any other ones?
Hello, sir.
Who is speaking?
Yusuf.
You did not raise your hand, Yusuf. Yeah, go ahead.
Item might be lost or damaged on transit.
Yes, it's also a problem. That you can call that one damages and privileges. Okay, you can call it damages or privileges. Yeah, you are correct. Next one. Examiner may say you should mention 4. We have only mentioned 2. Yes, IB. IB, you raised.
Imposition of tariffs.
Pardon?
Government imposing tariffs on certain goods that can be imported.
Government tariff, yes, it's also a problem. Yes. Congress, go ahead.
Delayed import can delay be part of it. Delayed in arrival of raw materials.
Okay. Yes, that could be delayed. Yes. Yes, Amon. Amon, okay, Kunle, go ahead.
Yes, and the quality of the raw material might not be guaranteed. I mean, when imported from abroad.
That's not a problem, because before you purchase the raw material, you would have make your findings to ensure that the quality is not in doubt. So quality cannot be a problem. Yeah.
Hello,
yes,
sir.
Yes, Amon, talk to me.
Yeah, lead time for replenishment could be a problem. Lead time.
Yes, the lead time is the period between when the raw material is bought from the supplier and when the company will receive the raw material. So of course that's also a problem. It can be delayed long. Right. Kunle, you are still raising your hand, or you see the old one? So what about the yes, please talk to me.
Default from the supplier.
Default. Default. How? Because
probably when you sign the contract with the supplier that you want for example, like 3,000 units, and then the supplier can tell you that, oh, apologies, we only have like 100,000 units available to dispatch. So
yeah, in that case, it's not a default. You can say reliability of supplier. So reliability of supply may be a problem because, like you rightly mentioned, if the supplier cannot satisfy the existing capacity level, then that would be an issue. What about the freight costs, the transportation costs? Okay, so high transportation costs is also a problem of commuting the item of raw material from abroad to your location. So then you need to talk about demurrage. Demurrage is the cost paid to the port authority if your goods stay beyond the required days. All right. Yes, Abdulateef, you raise and talk to me. That will be the last one.
Okay, I want to say an unexpected, unfavored government policy against importation.
Okay. Unexpected or inconsistent in government policy, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, then. That's fantastic. Yes, thank you all of you that participated. So that's it. So let's move to the B part of the question. You can now mute yourself. In the B part of the question, you are to advise the management of Kamfachan PLC on the machine to purchase. So your intention here is to buy a machine. You are not replacing, the company wants to buy either machine A or machine B. These are mutually exclusive machine. All right. Therefore, any of the machines that produce the lower annual equivalent cost will be the one to be purchased. All right. So as you can see from the table given to you, the initial cost of the machine, for example, machine A is 5 million. Initial cost of machine B is 9 million. In this question, we don't have selling price for you to be able, or variable cost for you to be able to determine your contribution. You will notice that the only cash inflow you have is the salvage value of 500,000 for machine A and 700,000 for machine B. Even at that, we still have cash running costs of 100,000 naira for machine A, 80,000 for machine B. So the most important thing you need to do here is to compute NPV for each of the machine. Then you compute the annual equivalent cost. Okay, you compute the annual equivalent cost. Any of the machine that has a lower annual equivalent cost is the one that will be purchased. So that's what we need to do. 15 marks question. So you don't need to sweat on this one. I will stop sharing. Okay. Solution. So illustration 2. The name of the company is Kamfachan PLC. So number B, we have answered number A requirement. So number B now. So you have to determine, you have to advise which of the two machines to purchase. So I would then say calculating annual equivalent costs. Okay. Machine A. Before you can get the annual equivalent cost, you need to compute the NPV. Therefore, here, description of items, cash flow, discount factor. We are told that cost of capital is 10%. Then the present value. Year 0, you have the cost of machine A to be 5 million naira. Discount factor at year 0 is 1. Then 1 multiplied by 5 million naira will give us 5 million. The next item, in the question you have been given annual cash running cost of 100,000 naira. This 100,000 naira is constant for the next 4 years because the useful life of machine A is 4 years and your 100,000 naira running cost is constant. Year 1, 100,000, year 2, 100,000, year 3, 100,000, and year 4, 100,000. So instead of computing different NPVs, all right? So instead of computing present value of the first year, 100,000, present value of the second year, 100,000, just calculate annuity factor. That will save your time, all right? So year 1 to 4, salvage value, sorry, annual cash running cost. Running cost, 100,000 naira, the cash outflow, the company is spending it. So you need to calculate annuity factor of year 1 to 4 at 10%, which is 3.170. 100,000 naira multiplied by 3.170 will give us 317,000 cash outflow. In the final year, year 4, that's a salvage value. Okay. Salvage value of 500,000 naira for machine A. Like I said, salvage value is the same thing as scrap value or sales proceed. So discount factor at year 4. For year 4 at 10% is 0.683. So 500,000 naira multiplied by 0.683 equal 341,500. So give me the final answer. NPV. What's the NPV? 5,317,000 minus 341,500.
4,975,500 negative.
4,975,500 negative. Okay. So now that we have computed NPV of machine A, I need to calculate annual equivalent cost, which is NPV, net present value, divided by annuity factor. Okay, which is equal to 4,975,500 divided by annuity factor of 3.170. What do you get? 1,000,000.
1,569,558.
1,569,558. So that's the annual equivalent cost for machine A. So we then compute annual equivalent cost for machine B. High. Machine B. Yeah. Item. Cash flow. Discount factor at 10%. Present value. Okay. Year 0. The cost of machine B is 9 million naira. This discount factor for year 0 is 1. Multiplied by 9 million is 9 million. The useful life of matching B is 7 years, and the annual running costs is constant at 80,000 naira. Therefore, I will calculate annuity factor of year 1 to 7 for annual running costs, which is 80,000. So what's the annuity factor of year 1 to 7 at 10%? That is
4.868.
4.868. So multiply by 80. Yep.
389,440.
389,440 negative. Then in the final year, year 7, this machine will be disposed. So salvage value. We are told that salvage value of machine B is 700,000. It's a cash inflow. Discount factor at year 7. Discount factor for year 7 at 10% is what?
0.513.
513. So multiply by 700,000.
359,100.
359,100, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. So give me the final answer.
9,030,340.
9,030,030, then 340. That's
Negative.
NPV of cost. That's NPV of cost. So at this point, I need to calculate annual equivalent cost for matching B, which is equal to 90,30, 340 divided by annuity factor of 4.6, 4.868. What do you get? Yep. 1,000,000.
1,855,041.
855,041. Okay. So at this point, examiner is asking you to advise the management of Kamfachan PSC on the machines to purchase. Any machines that produce a lower PV of cost is the one that will be purchased. The annual equivalent cost of machine A is 1,569,558 naira, but the annual equivalent cost of machine B is 1,855,041 naira. So machine A produced a lower PV of cost. So I would then say machine A produced an annual equivalent cost of 1,569,558. 558. Why machine B produced annual equivalent cost of 1,855,041 naira. Matching A with a lower annual equivalent cost should be purchased. Okay. That's the end of the question. Bonus question for that matter. 15 marks. You pocket it. Move to the next one. So let me know if you have any question on this so that we can go to the next one. Let's have one more illustration, please. Let's solve the last question that was said by the examiner, which was in 2017, long time ago. Okay, let me stop sharing this and move to the notes. Okay. Yes, somebody should read illustration number 3.
AL Limited is a manufacturing company based in Aba. One of its most successful products is Actone, a mortar coloring agent. Actone is made using a single processing machine, which mixes the raw ingredients and dispenses the completed product into 5-liter cartons. A 5-liter carton of Actone sells for 300 naira. An estimated maximum annual demand at this price is 300,000 cartons. At this level of demand, AL can justify the operation of only one processing machine, which AL currently replaces every 3 years. Although the processing machine has a productive life of 4 years. In the first year of its life, the processing machine has a productive capacity in line with the maximum annual demand for the product. But each year thereafter, this productive capacity falls at the rate of 15,000 units per annum. Annual maintenance costs in the first year of operating this processing machine are estimated at 300,000 naira. Thereafter, the directors expected the annual maintenance cost to increase by 50,000 naira per annum, regardless of the actual number of 5-liter cartons produced. AL incurs variable costs, excluding depreciation and maintenance costs of 200 naira in producing each 5-liter carton. The company provides for depreciation on all its non-current assets using the straight-line method. If company were to dispose of the processing machine after 1 year, the directors estimate sales proceeds of 8 million naira, but this could fall by 3 million naira per annum. In each of the following 2 years, assume the processing machine has 3 years lifespan. Following a recent increase in the cost of processing machine to 12 million naira, the company's directors are reconsidering their current replacement policy with a view of maximizing the present value of the company's cash flows. It can be assumed that all revenues and costs are received or paid in cash at the end of the year to which they relate, with the expectation of the initial price of the processing machine, which is paid in full at the time of purchase. We are required to assume that the processing machine is used to maximum capacity, and showing all your supporting calculation, advise AL's director how often they should replace the processing machine. Assume cost of capital of 10%. We are to itemize the major assumptions made in your calculations above.
Thank you very much. That is the question. Again, the same procedure. Go ahead and compute NPV for each replacement cycle. You compute your annual equivalent value or cost, then you advise when the company should replace the processing machine. It's as simple as that. So let me stop sharing this and move to the working notes. Okay. Solution to illustration 3. The name of this company is AL Limited. So I will say replace. We want to calculate NPV for each replacement cycle. So replace every year. If the company decides to replace every year, what's the NPV? So create a column for year, description of item, cash flow, discount factor, according to the question is 10%, then the present value. Year 0, initial cost of the processing machine. Let's go and identify that. I think I underlined this. What's the initial cost of the processing machine? According to the question, you are told that if the, yes, the last paragraph before the requirement, you are told that following a recent increase in the cost of a processing machine to 12 million naira, the company's director are reconsidering their current replacement policy with a view of maximizing the present value of the company's cash flow. So the initial cost of the processing machine is 12 million naira. So here will be 12 million. It's a cash outflow. Multiply by 1, give us 12 million. Okay. Then in year 1, I need to go and compute net cash flow. So this will be for year 1 replacement, year 2 replacements, then year 3 financer, then working should be here. This will be the last illustration we will have. So we want to, in the question we are given selling price, we also have variable cost. So which means we need to compute contribution per unit. So contribution, we are going to calculate contribution per unit as well as the total contribution. Of course, this is selling price minus variable cost per unit. Okay. So contribution, selling price we are told is 300 naira. Variable cost is 200 naira. Therefore, contribution per unit is 100 naira. So we need to calculate total contribution. So create a column for year, units, contribution per unit, then total contribution. Okay. So I will then go to the question, what's the useful life of the processing machine? What's the useful life of the processing machine?
3 years.
3 years. You know, in the question, the examiner told you that in the first paragraph of the question, you are told that at this level of demand, AL can justify the operation of only one processing machine, which AL currently replaces every 3 years, although the processing machine has a productive life of 4 years. So you have to be very careful so that you don't make a mistake. In the question, the examiner told you that the processing machine has a productive life of 4 years. But because examiner has already told you that in the second to the last paragraph, the last statement of the second to the last paragraph, we are told to assume that the processing machine has 3 years life, 3 years lifespan. So if you go and use 4 years, that it will be out of place because the examiner has already told you you should assume 3 years. Okay. Therefore, year 1, year 2, then year 3. Unit, what's the unit for the first year?
300,000.
300,000. We are told that in the second paragraph, you are told that a 5-liter carton of Alton sells for 300 naira. An estimated maximum annual demand at this price is 300,000 cartons. So in the first year, it's 300 cartons. At this level of demand, the company can justify, so I've seen what I'm looking for. So first year unit is 300,000. So year 2, you are now told that if you look at the second paragraph, sorry, in the third paragraph, you are told that in the first year of its life, the processing machine has a productive capacity in line with the maximum annual demand for the product, which is 300,000. But each year thereafter, this productive capacity falls at a rate of 15,000 units per annum. So the first year unit is 300,000. Subsequently, it will drop by 15,000. Therefore, 15,000, 30,000 minus 15,000 will give us 285,000. 285,000 minus 15,000 will give us 270,000. So this represents the productive capacity. Then, of course, our contribution per unit is 100 naira, 100, 100. To get the total contribution, multiply 300 by 100. That will be 30 million. 28 million, 500,000, then 27 million. Okay, so in the question, because we're also given maintenance costs, we are told that annual maintenance costs in the first year of operating the machine, we're still on the same third paragraph. Annual maintenance costs in the first year of operating the processing machine are estimated at 300,000 naira. Thereafter, the directors expect the annual maintenance cost to increase by 50,000 naira per annum, regardless of the actual number of 5-liter cartons produced. So, maintenance costs. Since we are given maintenance costs, then let's go ahead and compute net cash flow. Net cash flow. So create a column for year, total contribution, maintenance costs, then we have net cash flow. Year 1, year 2, year 3, 30,000, 30 million, 28,150, then 27 million.
28,500.
Oh, okay. Sorry, 28,500. Error of mind. Okay. Yes, annual maintenance cost in the first year we are told is 300,000. And it will increase by 50,000 thereafter. So the second year will be 300,000 plus 50,000. So the third year will be 350,000 plus 50,000. That's 400,000. To get the net cash flow, 30 million minus 300,000 will give us 29 million 700,000. Then year 2 will be 28 million 150,000. Then year 3 will be 26 million 600,000. So now that we have the net cash flow, we can then proceed to calculate the NPV for each of the replacement cycle. So here is the net cash flow for the first year, which is 29,300,000. Is it 29,700? 29,700,000. Yes, Kunle?
Yes, sir. I think in the fourth paragraph,
Yep.
Says if company were to dispose of the processing machine after 1 year, the director estimates sales proceed of 8 million.
Yep.
But this could fall by 3 million per annum. Are we going to consider that, sir?
Not yet. We'll get there later.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So discount factor for year one at 10% is 0.909. So multiply for me. What's the present value? Yeah.
26,997,300.
26,997,300. So in that year one, we have a sales proceed of 8 million naira. So we are told that in the first year, the director's estimated sales proceed of 8 million naira, but this could fall by 3 million naira per annum, okay, in each of the following 2 years. So the first year is, of course, sales proceed 8 million in the first year. So multiply by 0.909. What do you get? Yep. Are you guys still there?
7,272,000.
7,272,000. What's the final answer?
$22,269,300.
269,300. Okay. Then I would go to the next one. Replace every 2 years. Okay. Cash flow. Discount factor 10%, then the PV. Year 0, the cost still remain as 12 million. The cash outflow. Multiply by 1, you got 12 million. You repeat the net cash flow of the first year of 29,700,000 at a discount factor of 0.909, which produces 26,997,300. Year 2 net cash flow is 28,150,000. Discount factor at year 2, 0.826. Multiply, what do you get?
$23,251,900.
251,900. 251,900. In year 2, our sales proceed. Examiner, the first year sales proceed is 8 million naira. We are not told that it will drop by 3 million naira for the next 2 years. So 8 million naira minus 3 million will give us 5 million. multiply by 0.826. What do you get?
4,130,000.
4,130,000. Final answer. Yeah.
42,379,200.
42,379, 200. Okay, thank you. So the last one, year 3, replace every 3 years. So we can put NPV for that. Here, item, cash flow. Discount factor at 10%. PV. Okay. Year 0, the cost of the asset is 12 million naira. Multiplied by discount factor of 1, 12 million. Year 1 net cash flow, 29,700,000. At discount factor of 0.909, this produces 26,997. 997,300. Year 2 net cash flow, we got 28,150,000. The discount factor of 0.826. That is what produced 23,251. 23,251, 900. Then year 3, net cash flow of 27 million. Let me confirm.
26,600,000.
26,600,000. Thank you. $26,600,000. Okay, so here is 0.751. So what do you get as PV?
19,976,600.
19,976,600. Then year 4, sorry, that year 3, we also have sales proceeds. Remember, the first year sales proceed is 8 million naira. We are told that it will drop by 3 million naira for the next 2 years. So we minus 3 million from 8 million, remain 5 million. 5 million minus 3 million will give us 2 million. So sales proceed is 2 million in the 3rd year. Multiply by 0.751. What you get? 1 million.
150,000.
150,000. Okay, 2,000. So finally, what's your NPV?
$59,727,800.
59,727,800. Okay. So at this point, we have computed NPV for the respective years. So all we need to do now is to compute the annual equivalent value. Since our NPVs are positive, then it will be annual equivalent value. So annual equivalent value, you already know the formula. I don't need to repeat it again. So I'll just come here, working for annual equivalent value, then annual equivalent value. Year 1, 2, and 3. The first year NPV was 22,269,300. 22,269,300. The second year NPV is 42,379. 42,379, 200. Then 59,729, 800. Okay. So divided by annuity factor of year 1, which is 0.909. Annuity factor of year 1 to 2 will give us 1.736. Annuity factor of year 1 to 3 will give us 2.487. So what do you have there? What's the annuity annual equivalent value?
Year 1.
Yeah.
24,498, 680.
24,498, 680. Okay.
Year 3 is 24,016, 807.
Okay.
Year 2.
Yep.
24,411, 982.
982. Thank you. Let me redraw my table. Right. So as you can see, the annual equivalent value in the first year is higher than the other years. Therefore, the machine should be replaced every year. Okay. So I will say the processing machine should be replaced every year. Since the annual equivalent value of 24,498,680 naira is higher than the annual equivalent value of years 2 and 3 respectively. Okay, that's it. We have made our points. We've made our points. Then, of course, in the number B requirement of the question, you have to itemize the major assumptions made in your calculations above. All right, what are the assumptions you have made? So just state it there. We can talk about cash flows. What's the assumptions on cash flows? one of the assumptions is that all relevant cash flows are realistic and will occur at the end of each year. We can also talk about depreciation. Depreciation is a non-cash item and this has been ignored. All right. So just talk about any assumptions that you have made in your calculation. Of course, it's one of the things I asked you to do as an assignment, that you should form a note on the key assumptions of replacement strategy. All right. So you can also talk about the operating efficiency of the processing machine. Okay. You can talk about taxation and inflation. That taxation and inflation are ignored. All right. That's another factor. Then we can also talk about the fact that all qualitative factors, including pollution, safety, okay, pollutions and safety associated with the asset are ignored. All right. So we can also talk about the fact that replacements will continue for the foreseeable future. Like in this case, we have determined the replacement strategy to be every year. So that means we continue indefinitely for the foreseeable future. So those are the replacement, the assumptions that we have made. If you like, you can also talk about the working condition of the processing machine, that is the operating efficiency of the assets are similar. The old processing machine and the new one we want to be buying every year, our assumption is that the operating efficiency are similar. All right. So that's end of the question. That's end of the question. So, and this is where we are going to call it a day. Let me know if you have any question for me before we close the class. Any question? Yes, IB, talk to me.
So I wanted to ask, in a situation where there is a mix of both positive and negative NPVs, what do we do?
It's not possible. Examiner will not give you such a question. It's either you want to calculate annual equivalent value or annual equivalent cost. There cannot be any mix. If there's any mix, then you need to check your calculation. Maybe you have made mistakes somewhere. So examiner cannot give the mix of annual equivalent value and annual equivalent cost in a question. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir. On the second part of the question, the B part,
yes.
Can you please come again on those assumptions?
I should come again. You listen to the video now. Isn't it? I mentioned about 5 items. I said the first one I will talk about cash flow. Our assumption is that the cash flow estimates are realistic and will occur at the end of each year. That's number one assumption. We also talk about depreciation. That depreciation has been ignored because it's a non-cash item. That's number two. Then number three, we talk about qualitative factors, including pollution and safety associated with the processing machines are ignored. All right. So these are some of the things I mentioned in relation to the assumptions, underlying assumptions of the processing in our calculation. Okay. So yeah, that's it. I also talk about operating efficiency. That's the operating efficiency of the assets of the new and the existing assets are similar. Okay. We talk about inflation and taxation, right? That's inflation and taxation are ignored. So these are some of the answers. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Congress, talk to me.
Okay, sir. Please, can you go back to how we compute the net cash flow, the maintenance cost? I don't know how we got those figures because what I saw on the question is 50,000 for maintenance.
Okay, let me scroll down so that you can see it. Yes. Can you see my screen, Congress?
Yes, sir. Yes, I can see.
So the total contribution for year one is 30 million. Examiner
Yes,
has
sir.
told you that in the first year, maintenance cost is 300,000 naira, and this will increase by 50,000 naira subsequently.
Okay.
You get?
Yes, sir. It's clear, sir. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Yes, any other questions so that we can close the class? IB, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear what you said.
No, you raised hand, so I wanted to.
Oh no, this has been up ever since I asked my question.
I think, please take it again.
No, the hand has been up ever since I asked the first question. I forgot to put it.
Okay. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. No worries. Congress, yes.
It's a mistake. I'm trying to bring down my hand.
Yeah, bring it down now. No. All right. So in the absence of no further question, we are meeting tomorrow again by the grace of God from 12 noon. Tomorrow I'll be taking you learning curve theory, and it's going to be a combined class. All right. So I've already sent you the note on learning curve. So again, it's as straightforward. Learning curve is as straightforward as the asset replacement decision we just had now. So, yep, that's what we're going to do tomorrow. So after tomorrow, then we are going to be having two more important topics, which is capital budgeting and then risk and uncertainty, and they are very voluminous. And I just hope that we are going to be, I will be able to complete it during the month of October. If not, then we may utilize the first week in November to complete it. Okay? So thank you guys for your time and understanding. I will see you next time by the grace of God. And for those of you that are yet to subscribe to the ebook, I will encourage you to get it as quickly as possible. It's a very comprehensive, up-to-date, and at the same time, very simplified ebook. It's about 292 pages. I will encourage you to get it. It's going to help you a lot. You are going to gain a lot if you have access to it. And for those of you, for majority of you that have bought it, please, you have to utilize it. This is the time for you to be using, instead of you to be surfing social media every now and then. This ebook will come in handy. Anytime you have a spare time, whenever you have a spare time, open your phone, your tablet, or your laptop and be reading through. You will gain a lot. You will gain a lot. It's a very good material. I can assure you 100% on that. Please utilize the material judiciously. Yes, somebody is raising hand. Toib, are we not going to work on standard costing? Mr. Ashwaji will take you standard costing. I think it's currently having you with budget and budgetary control. Am I right? Which topic is Mr. Achiwaju taking you now? Kunle? Kunle, are you still there?
I think the next
Yes, sir.
topic.
Yes, sir.
Is Mr. Achiwaju, has Mr. Achiwaju taking you budget and budgetary control?
Not yet, sir.
Are you sure?
I think
That's
that's
it.
his next.
Oh, okay, that's the next one, right? Okay, you just finished transfer pricing.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So he has a budget and budgetary control. Then thereafter, it will take you variance analysis. Okay, standard costing versus variance analysis. All right. So, Toib, be patient. All right. Okay, Orobo, were you in this class today? Ah, too bad. Orobo did not talk. Victoria did not talk.
I'm in the class. Good evening,
yeah,
sir.
good evening. Nelson did not talk. Even Lola did not talk. Lola was the first person to join the class, but she did not talk. Asuko, you too. Who is O and A?
I have been taking my time to follow the class.
It's okay. Yes, who is OA? OA, you two did not talk. Joy, did you talk today? I doubt. Ify, who is Eve? You guys are just using different names that I cannot recognize. Eve, what's your full name? Eve, are you there?
My name is Evelyn.
Oh, she won me, so you are the... I wanted to say, where is Adam? I wanted to say, where is Adam? Because if I can see Eve, I should be able to see Adam because they are 5 and 6. Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow by the grace of God. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Yeah.